Choice to make, it's easy as can be. I see a lot of faces, but only one for me. I want to impress you, baby, from across the screen. Put on my Sunday best, call me the war machine.
It's your way I'm looking. I'm like, were you Hadouken? Yeah, you've caught my eye. Now I've got to try to get you, baby, on my side. I wanna take you for a ride. I wanna take you for a ride. It's plain to see this ain't a game to me.
Baby, you're my destiny. I wanna take you, I wanna take you for a ride.
Well, that intro took 2 days to make.
Before we get started with our video, I want to give a quick shout out to 8-Bit Big Band. I asked if we could use the song for the intro, and they literally said go for it, which is awesome, because I really wanted to use that song for the intro for a long time. And of course, link to their video in the description. Like many of you, me and my brother have always been a fan of crossovers, from the Earth's Mightiest Heroes, to the Justice League of America, and of course, the Nintendo's Greatest All-Stars.
One thing that makes these games so special are the characters. Today we put together a list of all new fighters that never before seen in Marvel vs. Capcom's history.
That's right, 5 from Marvel and 5 from Capcom.
So all aboard the hype train, because
we're gonna take you for a ride. There are some characters far too iconic to not be added onto this list. Among those is Marvel's own response to the Gotham hero himself. That's right, we're talking about Daredevil. Daredevil was first created in 1964 and has since had a ton of live-action appearances, which cemented him as a household name. The Daredevil has appeared in games as recently as 2019's Nintendo exclusive, Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. With that, and the fact that he has his own TV show, it's safe to say that his mainstream appeal is still intact. In Marvel vs. Capcom, he would bring a unique fighting style because of his dual weapons, using 2 billy clubs, which we have not seen before in the series, and is also able to swing quickly across the screen, similar to Spider-Man. He would make an awesome speed or rushdown character due to his ninja training. And in the story mode, he could even be rivals against Capcom's #1 ninja, Shredder Hiryu.
Now you know I had to put a suit on this list. I mean, he's basically Capcom's Kratos. I know modders already added him into Marvel vs. Capcom 3, but I feel like it's just time for him to make a mainline game appearance. Asuda was framed and betrayed by his friends, the 7 Conrads. They kidnapped his daughter, murdered his wife, and banished him from Gia, and trapped him in the nether realm. Now he has to find his way out to save his daughter and to get his revenge. Go get him, Asuda. Anyway, I feel like Asuda is a very underutilized Capcom character, and I feel like his wild punches and his wrathful attacks would make a great moveset in the next Marvel vs. Capcom game. Who knows? Maybe if we get him in Marvel vs. Capcom, then we'll get another Asuda's Wrath game as well.
Killmonger from the movies and Killmonger from the comics are practically different characters. I went with the version from the MCU films, the version many people know and love thanks to his awesome portrayal by Michael B. Jordan. Killmonger would probably feel out of place if he was anywhere but the battleground. In this iteration, he trained for most of his life to get back to his homeland of Wakanda and to kill T'Challa, the Black Panther. But why does that matter in Marvel vs. Capcom, you ask? Because with this version alone, we see 3 different fighting styles. This iteration, we'd most likely see him with a heavy machine gun, a hand pistol that would probably do some chip damage, and even being able to place or drop grenades. Or if they want to go in a completely different direction, he could use the Akakalaka or the spear. I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce it. And finally, he could play in his Golden King Black Panther suit. This version of him would most likely be similar to Black Panther, but with a way more aggressive fighting style. This costume could look sick in Marvel vs. Capcom with that nice reflective gold. And it wouldn't make sense for him to stay in his strongest suit, but there is something iconic about that blue suit. Maybe because it was inspired by Prince Vegeta from Dragon Ball. I think the armored look with the traditional African weapons is also seen a lot in the promotional art for the movie. So I think they could go with that in Marvel vs. Capcom. And I think a cool costume too could even be him wearing a mask or him in any of the other costumes. Before we introduce the next character, we want to take a second to tell you about our YouTube channel, Grapple Beam Gaming. As you could probably tell by now, we're huge gamers, and that stretches from Street Fighter to Tekken to Legend of Zelda and Smash Bros. And the best part is, we have content on all these topics and more on the channel right now. So after you finish this video, make sure you go and check those out.
That's right, bro. Me and my brother work really hard to make the best content for you guys. A couple of my personal favorites are the Tekken 8 video and the Fortnite video. So definitely check out those and whichever one of ours suit your fancy. With that being said, let's get back into the top 10 list, where I'm about to introduce the first ninja on this list. Let's go. Back in Marvel vs. Capcom 3, Capcom decided to put a new Street Fighter character in, Sea Viper. With Street Fighter 6 recently getting released, it only makes sense for them to do it again. And honestly, I can imagine them putting one or even two newcomers from Street Fighter 6 in the lineup. But if I had to pick just one, it would have to be Kimberly Jackson. Now, of course we know that Luke and Jimmy are the main characters of Street Fighter 6. I mean, they're on the box art. But the character designer of Street Fighter 6 did say that Kimberly is like this new version of Chun-Li for new fans. And I couldn't agree more. Kimberly is probably my favorite newcomer in Street Fighter in the last couple of games. And if they put her into a Marvel vs. Capcom game, that means that we get to see even more of her background story. Putting her in a new MVC game would really boost her popularity, and her fast rushdown moves would be a perfect match for Black Panther from Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. I can imagine Black Panther's win quote against Kimberly would be about how she reminds him of his sister, Shuri. That would just be so cool.
LeDresk needs no introduction. Introduced in Resident Evil Village in 2021, she took the internet by storm. It'd be hard to find a Capcom fan who hasn't at least heard of her. And outside of popularity, she could even bring a cool fighting style due to some key story elements. Surprisingly, she's not actually a vampire, more of a man-made bioweapon, so she still has to siphon energy to keep her strength. In Marvel vs. Capcom, she could play like the Guilty Gear character Negori Yuki, getting some health back after doing a ton of damage. It's funny to think that she's not even the main character in her game, so they managed to get a little creative with her fighting style. But what I can tell you is that she actually has her own DLC where you actually get to play as her, so I could definitely see them drawing inspiration from that, slashing with her claws and commanding her daughters to attack with her. Not even to mention her cannon height is 9 feet 6 inches, so there's already a ton they could do with that. For comparison, Nemesis comes in at 7 foot 3, so she would most likely sacrifice her speed and agility for just long range attacks. It's not every day a character with one game appearance becomes an icon, so that's why I think she deserves to be in Marvel vs. Capcom.
Son of Magneto, brother to the Scarlet Witch, and Marvel's #1 speedster, Quicksilver zooms his way onto this list. Quicksilver would be an awesome character in Marvel vs. Capcom because I just love speedster characters. Except for Cabal, you are so ugly, man. Like most people as a kid, I would pretend I had super speed powers and just run around outside and inside as well, because having super speed powers just sounded so cool. But for some odd reason, there's not a ton of characters in fighting games with super speed powers. I mean, besides Cabal, we have the Flash from the Injustice series, but that's about it. But the Flash is so fun and interesting to play as that it makes me want more speedster characters in fighting games, like Quicksilver in Marvel vs. Capcom. I know Capcom has never made a moveset for a speedster before, but I would love to see how they would try to animate his moves, attacks, special moves, and super moves, you know? Also, I think that his default outfit should be the one from the comics, and his costume too should be the one from the X-Men movies, because that one is just so cool looking. I just feel like it's time for Quicksilver to make his big video game debut, and where else than the biggest fighting game series ever?
Chaos hides his face behind a mask of peace. In the hands of Gil sits flames, ice, and erupt to him the entire world. Gil, from Street Fighter New Generation, has his mind set on controlling the world, and he might have the passion and power to do so. He portrayed himself as a god, despite just being a perfect science experiment, which would make him a very good villain for a Marvel vs. Capcom game. I can see him trying to control the entire multiverse in this game, even going as far to team up with Thanos to do so. And out of all the Street Fighter characters, Gil's playstyle actually already does have some elements from Marvel vs. Capcom. Similar to Storm, he'll throw ice meteorites throughout the sky, and also has the same power to do the same thing with fire. And of course, getting hit by either one of these attacks will give you the proper damage. Cryo making you slower and being able to get hit by even more incoming attacks, and the flame will rack up even more damage over time. Not only this, but also the fact that Marvel vs. Capcom games always have a cool, unique style. Gil's super would probably be amazing. They could really go all out with its erratic wings, and maybe even throwing in both elements at the same time. I think Gil is such a good choice for Marvel vs. Capcom. He has a cool character design that is just so unique and would fit in the world so well. And while I'm on the topic of Street Fighter villains, I do want to mention Juri. She's also a very popular, very fan-beloved Street Fighter character. But for Marvel vs. Capcom particularly, I think there's something uniquely menacing about Gil's presence that Juri doesn't necessarily have. I'd love to see her in, but I think it's Gil's time to arrive.
There's only been one Final Fight character in all of Marvel vs. Capcom, the Fighting Mayor, Mike Hager. And I think it's about time to switch that up a little bit. If we get another Final Fight character, I think it should be Maki. Like, I just realized that we haven't seen Maki since Street Fighter Alpha 3 Max. And that was a really long time ago. So I feel like it's about time for her to make another game appearance, you know? I just feel like she would make a perfect fit in the next Marvel vs. Capcom title. Just think about it. She's a ninja, she has a really cool character design, and a very serious personality. I mean, like, what more could you want? And she continued the trend of all Bushinryu ninjas fighting in sneakers. I have no idea why they do it, but they do look cool while they do it, so it's okay. Also, Maki is the second character on this list who uses the Bushinryu ninja fighting style. Can you tell I like ninjas yet? But honestly, if Kimberly and Maki appear in the same game, they have very different fighting styles, character designs, and special moves. So they would feel like different characters altogether. So with all that being said, I don't think that we saw Maki's final fight just yet.
First appearing in 2016, Ms. Marvel became a hit with old and new Marvel fans. Starting with comics, moving to video games, and finally sits as one of the newest members of the MCU, you can't look anywhere without seeing Kamala Khan. And rightfully so. She's a high-energy fangirl whose superpower reflects her personality, being more silly than just flat-out cool. Similar to the iconic Reed Richards, she has the power of polymorph, which is just a fancy way of saying stretchy ability. In the MCU, she uses a bracelet called the Bangle, but I can see them leaning more towards the comic book design, using her arms to fight opponents from a far distance while constantly taunting and laughing at them. Plus, it's not like Capcom's not used to designing a character like this. Just look no further than Dhalsim from Street Fighter, who practically has the same power, albeit to a lesser extent. I will admit, I haven't always been a fan of how slow and floaty he's always been. But if they make her less floaty, I can see her having an awesome gameplay style. A fast character you'd probably switch into for the beginning of the battle to rack up some serious damage. Who could forget her super special super move, Embiggen? Yeah, that's the best she could come up with. Just seeing this Marvel fangirl get to meet and fight on a team with the Capcom heroes, it just feels right. So that is why Ms. Marvel should join the battle in Marvel vs. Capcom.
Norman Rad was gifted the power cosmic by none other than Galactus, transforming him into the Silver Surfer. First off, can we just talk about how cool he looks? He looks super awesome. I mean, I wonder, does he have to like buffer himself like a car so he stays shiny? That would kind of be a downgrade, but still, what an awesome design. 10 out of 10, guys. Anyway, being the Herald of Galactus, Silver Surfer was put up against the greatest Marvel superheroes and villains for years, such as Doctor Doom, Thor, the Fantastic Four, and if he didn't want to destroy a particular planet like Earth, sometimes even his own master Galactus. That being said, Silver Surfer is a character who doesn't like to fight, but had many bouts with the greatest heroes and villains of Marvel, and that would make him a perfect fighter in Marvel vs. Capcom. I mean, he has a lot of special abilities and moves they could use in the game too. You know what? Let's go through a couple of them right now. Alright, let's see. We got superhuman strength, superhuman speed, telekinesis, a healing factor similar to Wolverine, the power to fly through space, and also he could create a black hole, which would be pretty awesome to see him do as a level 3 super move or something. That would just be so cool. And you know what's also really cool is that he has even more abilities, moves, and techniques that I didn't even name off. Man, Marvel made him OP. But yeah, I remember being a kid and seeing him in the original like Fantastic Four movies and just thinking, man, he'd be such a cool fighting game character. I would main him. And that's why I want to see Silver Surfer fly his way into the next Marvel vs. Capcom game.
And that's going to do it for the top 10 characters we want to see in Marvel vs. Capcom. If you made it through this entire list, you must be as big a Marvel vs. Capcom fans as we are. So you also might be wondering, what characters should return to Marvel vs. Capcom? Lucky for you, we have a video on that now on the channel, building the new roster from the ground up. Be sure to check it out after this video.
And make sure to check out our gameplays. We just played Marvel vs. Capcom 2 for the first time on this channel, and it is really good. And just thanks a bunch again, guys. This video took me and my brother about 2 months to put together, so I'm so glad that you guys enjoyed this one. Also, leave in the comments what character you'd like to see in the next Marvel vs. Capcom game. Me and my brother were wondering.
Until next time, don't forget to blast the like button.
And KO that subscribe button. And remember,
Excelsior!